Hi, I'm Dr. Shannon Holzer, and if you're watching this video, it's because you're taking the course National Security and Intelligence. In this course, we'll be discussing the idea of what it means to be a nation, why we have nations, why is it important that these things called nations be secure? What does it mean to be secure as a nation? And how would we go about securing a nation once we determine what a nation is and why it should be secure? To what degree should we defend our security, or should we allow others to penetrate that? Is there a tolerable amount? And to what degree is that amount allowed? And then once we decide that there are some boundaries to that, then we ask, to what means do we defend our national security against what enemies, foreign or domestic? If there are foreign enemies, what are the means by which we would use to defend that security? If they are domestic, to what degree can we defend our nation from those who are interior to our nation from hurting the interests of the country? So once you have that, then you have to ask the question of, why is it called national security and intelligence? Well, intelligence is always put in the context of national security. And in a national security framework, we have to have intelligence. We have to know who our enemies are. So we have to ask the question, why do we have intelligence? Well, for the defense of the nation, for national security. But then we ask, how do we gather intelligence? Well, from whom first, I guess? Foreign adversaries, maybe even our friends. And what about, our friends being the domestic, the people with whom we live? Are there people around us which the government should be spying on? Now, that's a very hot topic nowadays. Should the government, your own government, be listening to your conversations? Should they be reading your emails? If you're tasked, if the government's tasked to defend you from all enemies, foreign and domestic, well, you're part of the domestic framework. Therefore, the government might have an interest in saving the country from you, perhaps. And so there's a fine line where you go, well, wait, what about my individual freedoms and my freedom from, the idea of privacy? But then, do other governments have the right to privacy in the world framework? That is, do we have a right to go spy on England, who's our ally, on Germany, France? But then to what degree, once we start spying on our enemies, or those whom we would call our adversaries, say China or Russia often, and we say, can we spy on them? And what happens once we get caught? And then we have to understand that this is a two-way game, that if we're being spied on, or if we're spying on people, then we too are spying on or being spied on. And thus our friends might be taking in information. So what is this information? Well, it could be anything. That's the thing. We'll discuss in this course, what are the types of information that other countries and individuals and groups, what do they gather? And then we'll discuss, how do they use this stuff against us? Because it's never used, hey, we're out there gathering information in order to make America a better place. That is, if this is one of our adversaries. And we're never using the information we use to make other places better. Well, perhaps we think we are, in that we are trying to actually either subvert their government from doing something, or change them in what we would believe to be a positive way. And for example, if we're trying to bring down the Berlin Wall and we want to somehow bring in dissidents to hopefully topple communism and thus, change the government. And of course, in that regard, we believe we're not changing the government, we're trying to replace the government. So this is usually done in the context of the governmental context. However, there are instances of corporate espionage that we need to deal with too, in which even in the private sector, intelligence is gathered and used against other companies. And so these are things we'll talk about in this course. We'll also when we talk about the means of gathering intelligence. Cybersecurity is going to be a big one nowadays. That's part of what's going on. It's especially big in certain degree plans. And so this course will open us up to the traditional methods of open source security, to spying, to cybersecurity, to the cyber threats, to the threats to our nation, to the threats even to corporations. It's an exciting course. We'll also talk about jobs in the different national agencies. There are several of them. There are many job opportunities out there. And I would also tell you that part of the class will deal with how to get a job at some of these agencies and what it takes. And thus we will have a practical approach to this. So with that, welcome to the course. That is. And we all look forward to interacting with you, and hope you learn a lot from it. Have a great day.